All right, let's dive into Don Miguel Ruiz's The Mastery of Love.
Sounds good.
We're going to unpack some pretty profound ideas here
Yeah.
about love relationships the way we see ourselves.
Right.
And we're drawing on ancient Toltec wisdom for this one.
Very
Ready to get a little philosophical?
Absolutely.
All right.
So one of the things that makes Ruiz's approach so unique
Okay.
is that he views our lives as a kind of dream
Okay.
that we can learn to master.
Interesting.
He suggests that we're all living in a sort of mental hospital.
Whoa, mental hospital.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
That's a pretty intense image right out of the gate.
Is a striking image.
What does he mean by that?
Well, he uses this analogy of a skin disease
Okay.
where our emotional bodies are covered in these infected wounds that are constantly making us guarded and reactive
Oh, okay.
in our interactions.
I see.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt afraid to truly open up to someone? Almost like you're protecting those tender spots.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually a really powerful visual.
Yeah.
I can definitely relate to that feeling of wanting to protect myself emotionally.
Right.
So is he saying that this fear
Yeah.
is at the root of most of our relationship issues?
That's exactly it.
Okay.
He calls this process of inheriting and perpetuating this fear domestication.
Domestication. Okay.
And he argues that it begins in childhood
All right.
through a system of punishments and rewards.
Punishments and rewards.
Yeah, we learn to conform to certain behaviors and beliefs,
Okay.
often based on fear and the need for acceptance.
It sounds a lot like training a dog when you put it that way.
Right.
You're rewarded for good behavior and punished for bad.
Exactly.
But how does that domestication
Well,
show up in our adult relationships?
that's the fascinating part.
Okay.
Ruiz gives this really poignant anecdote
Okay.
about a child being punished for innocently playing with his father's guitar. This seemingly small act
Yeah.
creates a deep emotional wound,
Wow.
teaching the child to suppress their natural curiosity and joy.
Oh, wow.
Now imagine this happening repeatedly
Yeah.
in different forms throughout childhood.
Yeah, for sure.
These experiences accumulate and shape our beliefs about ourselves
Right.
and what we deserve in relationships.
Yeah, that example really hits home. I mean, we carry those wounds with us, don't we? We
Yeah.
do. They affect how we view ourselves, how we interact with others,
Yeah,
even the kinds of relationships we attract.
absolutely.
It's like we're subconsciously drawn to people and situations
Yeah.
that mirror our own internal struggles.
Precisely.
Huh?
Okay, so Ruiz suggests that these experiences
Yeah.
lead us to develop an unattainable image of perfection,
Perfection.
both for ourselves and others.
Hmm.
We strive to meet these impossible standards,
Right.
which leads to a cycle of self-rejection and self-abuse.
Self-rejection and self-abuse. Okay.
And that sets the limit for how much abuse we're willing to tolerate from others.
So it's not just about the fear we experience.
Right.
It's also about this internal critic that tells us we're not good enough.
Exactly.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, how can we even recognize when we're trapped in this cycle?
Yeah, that's a great question.
What does that even look like in a relationship?
Well, Ruiz brilliantly describes two tracks
Okay.
that relationships can follow.
Right.
The track of love
Mm-hmm.
and the track of fear.
Okay.
The fear track
Yeah.
is marked by conditions, expectations,
Okay.
and a constant struggle for control.
Mm.
It becomes a battle of wills,
Oh, I see.
where each person is trying to manipulate the other
Right.
to get their needs met.
That sounds exhausting.
It is.
So I'm guessing the love track is a bit different.
Absolutely, yeah. On the love track,
Mm.
there's a fundamental shift in perspective.
Okay.
You recognize that you're only responsible for your half of the relationship.
Okay.
You can't control the other person,
Right.
but you can choose to approach them with respect
Respect.
and allow them to be themselves.
So it's about taking responsibility for our own actions and emotions,
Yes,
but not trying to control or fix the other person.
exactly.
That sounds like a healthier approach.
It is.
Honestly, a lot harder to do.
It can be, yeah.
Ruiz really stresses this idea of mastering ourselves first, doesn't he?
He does, he does.
Okay, so where do we even begin with that?
Well, this mastery begins with recognizing the source of our struggles.
Right.
One of the most memorable concepts he introduces
Mm-hmm.
is the magical kitchen of the heart.
Magical kitchen.
He describes our hearts as being like a magical kitchen
Okay.
that already contains all the love we need.
That's an interesting thought.
We just need to learn how to tap into it.
Okay, so that's a really powerful image.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me think, if we already have all this love inside us,
Yeah,
why do we often feel so starved for it?
that's a great question.
Like we're constantly searching for it from others. Why is that?
Well, that's a question that Ruiz addresses directly.
Okay.
He tells this story about someone offering pizza in exchange for control.
Pizza in exchange for control.
Yeah, it highlights how we often settle for scraps of affection,
Oh,
allowing ourselves to be manipulated
I see.
because we feel so desperate for love.
Wow. I think we've all been there at some point, haven't we?
Probably.
That feeling of wanting to be loved so badly
Yeah.
that we're willing to compromise our own needs and values.
Right.
It makes me wonder, how do we break free from that cycle?
Well, Ruiz tells a compelling story
Okay.
about a man who vehemently denies the existence of love
Okay.
until he meets a woman who shares his view.
Hmm.
They build a relationship free from the usual drama and neediness,
All right.
finding happiness in their shared perspective.
Okay.
But then a moment of doubt shatters their happiness,
Right.
reminding us that true joy can't be dependent on another person.
That's a really interesting point. It sounds like he's saying we can't rely on others to make us happy,
Right.
that the source of happiness has to come from within ourselves.
Exactly.
That's deep.
And this leads us to the myth of Artemis,
Okay.
the divine huntress.
Right.
Ruiz uses this myth to explore how we all hunt for love and fulfillment.
Okay.
But just like Artemis in her obsessive pursuit of Hercules,
Yeah.
we often become predators in the process, driven by our neediness and a lack of self-love.
I see. So we're all hunters in a way,
Yeah,
searching for something to fill that void within us.
right.
But like you said, often that search turns into this desperate chase,
Yeah.
makes us lose sight of what really matters. So what are we actually hunting for?
That's where things get even more interesting.
Okay.
Ruiz suggests that the real prey, the real target of our hunt,
Yeah.
isn't external at all. He introduces this concept of the parasite,
Parasite. Okay.
which he defines as the judge,
Mm-hmm.
the victim,
Okay.
and the belief system within us.
So our own inner critic.
Exactly.
The one that's always feeding on our fears and insecurities.
Yes.
And driving that sense of neediness and lack.
Yeah, it can be pretty brutal.
It can be. It can be.
And often, we're not even aware of how much it's influencing us,
Yeah.
our thoughts, feelings, behaviors.
Right. Right.
But the good news is,
Okay.
by becoming aware of this internal struggle,
Mm-hmm.
we can start to shift the dynamic.
Okay. So how do we do that?
We can begin to see those thoughts as just thoughts,
Okay.
not absolute truths,
Right.
and choose to respond differently.
So it's like recognizing those negative thought patterns and choosing not to engage with them.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But how does that awareness actually play out
Right.
in our relationships with others?
That's a crucial point.
If we're still battling that inner parasite,
Yeah.
how can we create healthy, loving connections?
It allows us to offer more compassion and understanding to others
Okay.
instead of trying to fix or control them. We can give them the space to deal with their own parasites.
I see.
We recognize that they, too, are on their own journey, grappling with their own fears and insecurities.
It's about recognizing that everyone is fighting their own internal battle, right?
Exactly.
And that we don't have to take on their struggles as our own.
Right.
It reminds me of what Ruiz said earlier.
Yeah,
About taking responsibility for our own half of the relationship.
absolutely.
It's about setting healthy boundaries
Yes,
and recognizing that we can't control other people, only ourselves.
precisely.
Yeah.
And this awareness extends to all aspects of our lives,
Okay.
even those that are often shrouded in secrecy and shame.
Like what?
Well, Ruiz challenges many conventional beliefs about sexuality. He urges us to question the societal programming
Okay.
that often leads to guilt, shame, and unhealthy dynamics in relationships.
Now that you mention it, he does talk about that. I remember that example he gives of a married woman who feels attracted to another man. Right.
And then gets caught up in this whirlwind of guilt and justification.
Yeah, it's like her mind is trying to control and suppress those natural feelings,
Right.
creating even more conflict in the process.
It's like we try to force ourselves into boxes that don't fit,
Exactly.
denying our own needs and desires.
Yes.
Trying to conform to these external expectations.
It's about embracing our authenticity, acknowledging our desires without judgment,
Okay.
approaching these matters with honesty and respect
Honesty and respect.
for ourselves and others.
So it's not about just giving in to every impulse,
Right.
but about acknowledging those feelings without shame.
Yes.
and making conscious choices
Exactly.
that align with our values.
That's a really powerful message.
It is. It is.
Especially in a world that often tries to dictate how we should think and feel.
Absolutely.
And this honesty and self-acceptance extends to how we view and treat our own bodies.
Our own bodies. Okay.
Remember that concept of the God within you?
Yeah, I remember that. Ruiz suggests that we are literally divine beings.
Okay.
Responsible for the well-being of trillions of cells
Trillions, wow.
that make up our physical forms.
So we're like caretakers of our own personal universe.
Right.
But it's so easy to get caught up in societal expectations.
This is.
Judgments about how we should look.
Yeah, we constantly compare ourselves to others and find ourselves lacking.
Right.
Leading to that cycle of self-rejection and self-abuse.
And that self-rejection spills over into our relationships too, doesn't it?
It does.
If we can't even accept and love ourselves,
Yeah.
how can we offer that same love and acceptance to someone else?
It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
But the good news is that we can break free from it.
Okay, how?
Ruiz suggests that forgiveness is the key.
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness of others, but perhaps even more importantly,
Yeah.
forgiveness of ourselves.
I remember that image of a woman releasing anger through tantrums. It illustrates how those outbursts might provide temporary relief, but they don't address the underlying pain.
They don't. It's like we're clinging to that resentment, reliving the hurt over and over again.
Exactly. So forgiveness isn't about condoning the actions that hurt us.
No.
It's about releasing the grip that those experiences have on us.
Yes.
Choosing to move forward with a sense of peace and freedom.
Exactly.
And this forgiveness opens the door to a deeper level of self-acceptance.
It does.
And self-love.
Yeah.
And from that place of wholeness, we can start to build healthier, more fulfilling relationships.
Absolutely.
With others.
It all starts with that internal shift.
Right.
Recognizing the God within.
Okay.
And choosing to live from a place of love rather than fear.
And that brings us back to that story from India.
Yes.
About Brahma and Maya.
It's a profound metaphor for the human condition.
It is. It is.
We search for love and fulfillment outside ourselves.
Yeah.
When the true source of those qualities has always resided within. But by awakening from this dream, remembering who we truly are, we can reclaim our inherent wholeness.
I see.
Experience a deeper sense of peace, joy, and connection.
And that awakening isn't some distant goal.
No.
It's something we can cultivate in every moment.
Exactly.
Through our choices, actions, and awareness.
You got it.
It's about aligning our human will with that divine spark within us, expressing our true nature through love, creativity, and generosity.
And that alignment, that sense of wholeness, is what leads to true mastery.
It's not about achieving some external standard of perfection.
No.
But about becoming masters of our own dreams.
Yes.
Consciously choosing love over fear.
Love over fear.
Creating a life that reflects our true essence.
You've got it.
It's about embracing the art of living.
Becoming Toltecs.
Artists of the spirit.
Ruiz goes on to conclude the book with a series of prayers. They're surprisingly moving, even if you don't consider yourself particularly religious.
Yeah. They're not about asking for external favors.
Right.
Or interventions.
It's more like affirmations or intentions.
Intentions,
Aligning our will with a greater force of love and wisdom.
What's powerful about those prayers is that they guide us to tap into that divine spark within ourselves, to become more conscious creators of our own reality.
Yes. They're a reminder that we have the power to choose.
To choose.
To choose love, to choose forgiveness,
to
choose healing, and to choose a more fulfilling and meaningful existence.
It's like he's giving us a roadmap, a way to navigate all the complexities of love and relationships, not just with others, but also with ourselves.
Absolutely.
It's been pretty amazing unpacking the mastery of love, hasn't it?
It has.
What stands out to you as like the most important takeaway?
For me, it's that simple but profound reminder that true love begins within. It's not something we find out there in the world, desperately searching for someone to complete us.
Yeah.
It's something we cultivate within ourselves. Through self-acceptance, forgiveness, and a willingness to embrace our own vulnerability.
That really resonates with me. I think for so long, I was looking for love in all the wrong places, trying to fill that void with external validation and approval.
It's so clear that until we tap into that wellspring of love within ourselves, we'll always be searching for something that's already there.
Exactly.
And once we connect with that inner source, it naturally overflows into our relationships with others. We become less needy.
Less needy.
Less controlling.
Hi.
More capable of offering genuine love and acceptance. We can finally let go of those unhealthy patterns of seeking validation and control.
I see.
And instead, approach relationships from a place of wholeness and generosity.
It's like that magical kitchen analogy, right?
Yeah.
Once we realize we already have everything we need within our own hearts, we can stop searching for scraps of affection.
Exactly.
And start sharing our abundance with the world.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Thanks.
It really highlights the transformative power of his message.
It does.
It's not just about improving our relationships. It's about changing our entire experience of life.
Wow.
Waking up from the dream of separation.
Okay.
Stepping into a reality where love, joy, and connection aren't things we chase.
Right.
But qualities we embody and radiate.
Yeah. So for our listener who's been with us on this deep dive, what's one final thought-provoking question that they can take with them on their own journey?
If your body is a temple where God lives, as Ruiz suggests, how will you treat it from this day forward? Will you nourish it with love, acceptance, and kindness?
Okay.
Or will you continue to subject it to judgment, criticism, and neglect?
That's a powerful image to contemplate.
It is.
And if you're feeling inspired to explore more of this Toltec wisdom, I highly encourage you to check out Don Miguel Ruiz's work.
Absolutely.
You might be surprised at how profoundly it can impact your life and relationships.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Of course.
Until next time, may you find the love and joy you seek within your own heart.